Oh, they've only gone and done it, haven't they? Those pesky bloody humans have just gone and made a cure, haven't they? Now, what does this mean for mutant kind? Should there be a cure? What does this mean for the likes of Rogue? Is it really just an option, or is it slowly going to be forced upon every mutant? This video is going to have some spoilers. If you care enough about that warning, I am going to try and remember to say that at the top of every video. But nevertheless, this is my uneducated opinion on the movie X-Men 3: The Last Stand. This is also directed by someone who isn't that great of a bloke, it turns out. Jesus, where the hell did I get these people? I think this is the first movie I experienced CGI de-aging for the first time, and from what I remember at that time, it was noticeable. And it certainly is now. There are some shots where it does look pretty good, but others where it really looks like bad plastic surgery or just straight out from a video game. The CGI faces aside, the opening is really made up for with the scene showing a young Warren or Angel cutting their wings off. I remember being really terrified by it, and it's really disturbing, not only because of the way the severed wings looks and it pans towards them in going into the opening credits, but because of the really vulnerable state that Warren is in. The young actor, I think it is Camden Boyd, does a really good job in this scene. They've unfortunately decided to change the theme in the opening credits yet again, and I didn't realise until after that the music was composed by John Powell, who has done some incredible work in the past, my favourite being the How to Train Your Dragon soundtrack, but this movie's music is okay. I can't really think of any particular moment or scene where I was swept away with the music at all. I may have to give it a proper listen. This has the first scene in regards to referencing the Sentinels and within the Danger Room. It's a really cool way of showing the work of abilities once again between all of the X-Men and how they work together. For example, Kitty holding on to Iceman as they let a missile pass through them. Elliot Page plays Kitty Pryde, who does a really good job, and is also a character that has been recast a couple times already in this franchise, but it doesn't seem that obvious if you're not looking for it. But damn, Boulevard Trask went through some dramatic changes. No wonder people started getting confused about the timeline of the X-Men franchise. Then again, I don't know if it's the same Boulevard Trask because they only mention his last name in this movie, not his first, so it might not be the same character, but I wouldn't trust him on that. Now, this movie has a really interesting premise about introducing a cure and what conflicts that can be brought about, but this is also trying to tell the story of the very popular Phoenix Saga, which unfortunately means that this story starts to feel very underdeveloped and doesn't hit those deep emotional beats that the first movies had. Onto the other newer faces in this movie, and one of my favourite casting choices in any superhero movie that I've ever seen has to be Kelsey Grammer as Hank McCoy or Beast. The look especially is absolutely perfect. I really love the strong stance he has for mutants, but there's seemingly this what if moment he has during his meeting with the boy who can cure mutation, but he doesn't have any resentment towards the child. He just says,
"You have an amazing gift."
Also, another subtle moment is towards the end and the final fight against Magneto, the face of disgust that he has when he is administering the cure on Magneto, but also knowing that it's what had to be done for the safety of everyone. It's really well done. I love Kelsey Grammer so much in this movie. Another character that I really liked the look of is Angel, played by Ben Foster when his character is all grown up, who doesn't do too much in the movie, but I really enjoyed the short scene we have in the attempt to cure him. Nervous and not comfortable with the idea of being cured, and directly saying to his dad that he is the only one that wants this. I mean, if you had wings like a fucking angel and a grovelling old man saying that you're not perfect, I'd jump straight out of a window as well. James Marsden as Cyclops returns in this movie for 2 scenes. Jesus Christ, what a waste of potential that was. Charles Xavier is in this again, played by the magnificent Patrick Stewart, and I really like the development he has in showing that he has got a lot of flaws and has had to make tough decisions in the past in regards to Jean, though he doesn't last too long as well because it seems too hard for writers to have a character as powerful as Xavier in the story but without having the constant thought of, well, he could just make everyone and all conflicts just stop with a thought, right? That's why they made the plot of taking him out of the final conflict in the first movie, then making him a tool for Stryker in the second movie. So you can't keep on doing that again and again and again. So just kill him off. I mean, at least he lasts longer than Cyclops. The Perfect Man, Ian McKellen, returns as Magneto. I love his drive towards the safety of mutants in this, and calling out the signs of the next stages of oppression, as of course he has had to experience those in the past. The humans being the ones to draw blood first, and then using the cure in the weapons as a safety precaution, but we all know it's just them wanting to forcibly put their beliefs onto the mutants. Now for the new faces of the Brotherhood. This is the first and only appearance of the character Multiple Man, who I wish they would bring back in the future in some form, because you could get really creative with that character, because in this movie he is only significant in one moment, really, and that's to get caught. The dude who robbed 7 banks all at the same time has the task of using his incredible gift of getting caught. And that's it. Why? There's so much more you can do with that. Now, Juggernaut. Oh, this movie. Holy shit, Juggernaut. Played by hard geezer Vinnie Jones, who is most famous for grabbing Paul Gascoigne by the bollocks, he's... I mean, the character's not good, is he?
Don't you know who I am? I'm the Juggernaut, bitch!
Least offensive of all, they don't get the basics of his backstory right, but again, it just feels a little bit uninspired in getting a hard man to play a very surface level brute. I would even go so far to say that I don't think it's really Vinny's fault, not only because I don't want him to hunt me down and rip my bollocks off as well, but mainly because I'm sure it was just what he was told to do, and I know in the past he's come out and expressed his disappointments with the movie. I don't understand why, again, this franchise at this point in time was so scared in going all out on the comic accuracy. They can't commit to certain backstories, for example, Juggernaut not actually being a mutant and getting his powers through this cosmic gem, the looks of any outlandish mutants, or them wearing their yellow spandex, because let's just quickly mention, not only because that would just look cool, but it would certainly help out in the final battle, because there is mutants on both sides, some helping the humans and obviously those that are not. So you need to have the humans have some help in determining which is their allies and which are not. They even fail at making the Phoenix, well, the Phoenix, and to me they kind of make her a little bit boring. In my opinion, it's very underwhelming for any villain to have all of this really raw, devastating power, for them to just stand there and stare at people whilst everything is crumbling and collapsing around them. Most notably, the moments at the end where people are just getting snapped out of existence before Thanos made it cool. Now, there are some cases where they do get a little bit of the comic accuracy right, like with showing Iceman's full power in his fight with Pyro, Colossus throwing Wolverine at the head of the Sentinel and against Magneto, so there are some cool callbacks in the comics. I have mentioned in the past that I am all for different interpretations, and you need to have your own take on certain things. If you want to have your exact translation, just go to the original source material. It's not like they're going anywhere. It's just unfortunate that this movie doesn't really get a lot of the core principles right within it, and the story just seems to fall apart. There are some things practically I feel this movie does really effectively in its fight scenes, more noticeably in Jean's house where walls are being collapsed and people are being thrown about. This movie is confusing in a sense to me that they try to set up Storm being the next leader of the X-Men, acknowledging Cyclops not being himself at the start, and her standing up to accept Angel within their school where all hope seems lost. That makes perfect sense. But then Wolverine takes up this leadership role in giving this speech before the final battle when there is just the 6 of them together. I just don't see Logan as this leader in what we've experienced so far. It's almost like you had a plethora of characters to choose from within this school that you've made. Especially one of them. But whatever, he's dead now. When it does get to the final battle, it is a little bit boring, as it is just a bunch of generic mutant goons whose powers are seemingly just jump very far and stick to walls, and that's it, going up against other generic soldier types. I don't know why this is a trend in a lot of big blockbuster action movies and superhero movies. They did this in the Avengers movies. It is done better in those movies, but I do start to think, in regards to Infinity War and Endgame, do you really need a bunch of those 4-armed goop monsters? I do like how the final battle mirrors the start of the movie with the danger zone, the look of Wolverine's clothes and skin shredding off, all except conveniently his shorts, where you're able to see his adamantium skeleton. It's also not the first time Hugh Jackman is crying out and holding his love in his arms after brutally murdering them. Overall, this movie has a really great concept with good actors and some fun scenes, but ultimately it only seems to have a few deep character moments that are not fleshed out a lot. It's fine, but we all know they can get a lot worse. So the budget of this movie was $210 million, and at the worldwide box office it made $460 million. A little bit better than the first, but with the added budget, a larger gross would definitely have been a goal for the studio. Now, with every uneducated opinion video, let's look at the trailer, see if it's any good.
Oh, don't get your panties in a bunch. That was my last cigar.
Okay, so I ended up watching 2 of the trailers that came out for the movie, and I'm gonna be honest, I didn't like either of them. The first trailer especially, it had certain scenes have slow-mo, but it just looked really weird with its frame rate. It gets sort of the point across of what the movie's gonna be, and what I'm just thinking is that they expected a lot of people to go and see this because it's the last one. I don't know, it's a little bit underwhelming. And I think that's about it. Thank you everybody so much for watching another opinion video. Why not give us a like, subscribe, ding the notification bell, share around with your friends and family if you think they'd enjoy this. Comment down below what you thought of the movie. Did you think it was an absolute disaster? Do you like it in some cases? Do you think it's a little bit underrated? Give me constructive feedback what I could do better for next time. I stream on twitch.tv/Rizikins. There I'm going through the Dark Souls games now and I am losing my mind slowly. I also stream with my girlfriend Jem and my good friend Rezzy. Hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you everybody so much again and take care.